Pat Forde of Yahoo Sports joining me here right now. The committee got it right, correct, Pat?
Yeah, Rich, I think so. I don't think there was too much wiggle room for them to get it wrong. If they had blown this one, they'd really they'd be open to second guessing. I think these teams were pretty cut and dry as the top four teams. I don't think anybody's sitting out there with legitimate complaint that they didn't get a fair shot at it.
Well, I know they said that Michigan State became the third overall team based on big, top 10 wins and things of that nature. But don't you think the committee said, look, let's get two like-minded teams facing each other in each game so we can have some form of a contrast in styles for the national championship game? Do you think that went into their thinking?
It's possible. I don't know whether that was a deciding factor, but it was probably a discussed factor because they really do. I mean, I think the styles of Clemson and Oklahoma are similar, and the styles of Michigan State and Alabama are very similar. So, they definitely are. Whoever wins, we're going to have two contrasting styles in the championship game. And if they were trying to do that, if they were trying to keep Oklahoma from playing in Dallas, even though they were a lower seed and having, a geographic advantage, whatever the reason was, or if this was just simply the way they thought they should be, I think it works out well no matter what.
Well, there's North Carolina fans today are upset, and for good reason, that there any opportunity to try and come back. You're down 8, so a lot has to happen in order to tie the game. But an offside call and an onside kick that, I don't know what they are looking at. Pat, what can be done about officiating at the collegiate level? What possibly can be done? Because it's conference by conference here. There doesn't seem to be any overarching governing body at work. What can be done?
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, I mean, in specific to that call, that should be reviewable. It's to say, that you can review whether a quarterback has passed the line of scrimmage on a pass. Why can't you? This is the same thing. It's very easily determined. It's not like you're going to, determine a pass interference call on review here. This is just, was he across the line or not? So I would like to see that. As far as the rest of it, I think two things. You can either upgrade pay and give some of the king's ransom that these conferences are making to get better people approaching or attracted to officiating, or fans can just grin and bear it because calls now have been so microanalyzed. I mean, the replays and people that will devote incredible amounts of time to just zeroing in on every call. Fans, want to find a reason why their team lost, other than the fact that their team wasn't good enough. So they will devote extraordinary energy to these undertakings. I don't know if we're going to keep going like this, where it's like, we're going to just go out and just go after the officials after every game. Who's going to want to be a ref? I wouldn't want to be. You'd have to make me a millionaire to want me to be a college football referee at this point. No way.
Yahoo Sports' Pat Forde joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you make about the news that broke about a half an hour ago that Steve Sarkisian is suing USC for $30 million in damages? What do you make of that?
Well, this looks like a doozy. I got a copy of the complaint, and paragraphs 3, 4, and 5 include the phrase "kicked him to the curb." So, I think that they're coming out guns blazing on this breach of contract. Breach of confidentiality, discrimination against somebody with a disability, and then demanding a jury trial. They, at least for talking points, they don't want to settle this. They want a jury trial. So it's going to be interesting. As if USC needed a little more turmoil and Pat Hayden needed a little more turmoil to go through. They've got it. I don't know how this ends, but I don't see it ending terribly well for anybody.
And Clay Helton had the interim tag removed. Which of the new hires that you've seen, and we're expecting, Kirby Smart to go down in Georgia, and obviously Jim McElwain taking over for Spurrier. Which one is the one that says that's the winner? That one is going to be a great match. It's going to really work.
I think Mark Richt has a chance to be a very good hire at Miami. I think that he'll be the best coach they've had there in a while if his battery is fully charged and he's not just going there on the rebound. But he'll have to work. But he's a good coach. He can win, and in that division, that's a winnable division of the ACC. I look at that whole division. I think they upgraded there. I think Bronco Mendenhall to Virginia. And I really like what Whit Babcock did, the athletic director of Virginia Tech. He found a way to finesse an amicable parting with Frank Beamer. He brought in a guy, Justin Fuente, who a lot of people wanted, and he outflanked them to get. And he keeps his direct defensive coordinator, Bud Foster, who has really been a linchpin of that program. So I think Virginia Tech came out really well.
Pat Forde, Yahoo Sports, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what do you think happens on New Year's Eve night? What do you think is going to happen?
I don't like either of the point spreads that I've seen. I think Alabama's being favored by 9 is way too much. Michigan State, there's a true, wooden stake to the heart team to beat. And I think the way they play, they'll be comfortable playing against Alabama. I think Alabama will win, but I think that's a field goal to touchdown game at most. On the other side, Clemson's an underdog, and I don't like that. I think Clemson's better than Oklahoma. I know Oklahoma's kind of got everybody's eye lately, but the big games they won in November, Rich, they didn't play a starting quarterback against any of them. Mm-hmm. Baylor, backup quarterback. TCU, backup quarterback. Oklahoma State, backup quarterback. So I want to see him beat a good quarterback, and Clemson has a really good one.
Uh-huh. So you think it'll be Clemson and who?
And Alabama.
Clemson and Alabama. And who wins the Heisman? Who do you think, Pat? Who's going to take down
I think
the Heisman?
Derrick Henry looks like the heavy favorite. I'm getting ready to send in my ballot this afternoon. I think really in some combination the top 3 are him, Christian McCaffrey, and Deshaun Watson. But I'm casting a wide net right now, at least. I've got 11 guys on paper, and I'm still trying to whittle it down to 3.
Yeah, McCaffrey even threw a touchdown pass for Stanford against USC. That kid is unbelievable, Pat.
Oh, he's fantastic. Great player. It's too bad more people didn't get to see him play, I think, this year.
I've got Keenan Reynolds on the show tomorrow. I'm eager to chat with him. But, he's got a game to play. Even if he's invited, he can't go to New York.
He can't. Actually, they've got a way of figured it out. The game's at 3 o'clock. The ceremony's at 8. They're in Philadelphia. The ceremony's in New York. They're going to put him on either a helicopter or a plane and get him there if he's invited. So I talked to the Navy folks last week. They said they have a plan in place if he makes it.
Oh, come on. He's got to arrive by boat, though, right? Right, Pat?
Maybe that is. They'll take him on a Navy destroyer up in the Hudson or whatever.
Please.
Sure.
Yes. And they take him the Intrepid, right? And he gets off of the Intrepid. And he takes a tank down and just get it all working. You can do that. Pat, thanks for joining. I appreciate it.
All right, Rich. Thank you.
You bet. That's Pat Forde of Yahoo Sports, at Yahoo Forde. I follow him on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.